a lot of times we want more because of our past mistakes and our inability to process trauma properly. And so sometimes we're battling embarrassment and some of our thoughts when we're not monitoring them and just kind of letting them go or just kind of ignoring them or kind of working our way through it or relationshiping our way through it or sexing our way through it. We miss a lot of things. And so we can use this energy to say, oh, I'm going to hurry up and do this. Or, you know what, when I get a lot of money, and that's cool and all, you can use that energy, but you still have to deal with those things.
Yeah. TK. Jersey. I've been on the grind, man, all it took was patience. That money on my mind, man, all I see is hating. He jocking on the low, man, you know the kid is wavy. Like how you mad at me when you know you're fucking lazy. Should've changed. What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Health is Key, and you are tuned into the Health and Hip Hop Podcast Show. And shout out to my guy, always one of my best friends, Rel. And I am doing a solo episode today. And before we even get into the topic, I want to say, if you enjoy this video, only if you enjoy it, if you feel like you've learned something, some type of takeaway from it, a gem, something that made you go, or I need to do that, or I need to pass it on, I need y'all to comment, and I need y'all to share this video for those who you think needs this information, okay? And then after you do that, I know I'm asking for a lot, but I need it. I need the help. I ain't ashamed to say it. I offer some value so I could feel like I could ask for some things back from my family. Okay. So also I need y'all to watch another video, which is only going to be beneficial to both of us. I get the views, you get the knowledge, we get the love. So make sure other people get to learn. I get to see like, oh, that helped you and be able to create more content. So if you watch another video, and shout out to Poor Man's Podcast, I got this from him. And he said, if you watch another one of my videos, that's how it can hit the algorithm better. So as soon as you watch this, share it and watch another one, please. Any episode will do. All right, so now let's get into the topic. The topic today is 7 things that I wish I knew or I want to share. I'm not sure what I want to name this. Like I said, I came up with this earlier today. No, I didn't say that. That was in my first recording. So excuse me for that. But I just came up with this topic this morning. So 7 ways that I feel I wish I would knew before I leveled up or want to share about leveling up. Excuse me. So if you don't know who I am a trainer. I am a nutritionist. I am a motivational speaker. I am aspiring to be a life coach. I also want to become a biochemist as well. And I know, and I'm very comfortable with a thing or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, 6, 7 is about leveling up and becoming who I want to be. That's all I've been doing my whole life. I've been blessed to be on my own time the entire time, even when it was scary. So I've been spending a lot of my time. I'm 33 now, and I've been doing that since I came out of high school. So I've been spending a lot of my time just doing what I want to do. I've been owning my own time forever. I still do. And even when it was uncomfortable, even when it was embarrassing, even when it was good times, even when it was like I was excelling, I just had to go through these things, and I wasn't sure about them until years later when I was able to look back at them, and I want to be able to share that with y'all. So if you don't know, my show is about health and hip hop. So what does this have to do with hip hop, right? The reason this has to do with hip hop is because you can use the information that I'm about to tell you for any type of goal, any type of way internally that you want to level up. And it can be an entire version of yourself, better version of yourself. It can also be one single characteristic you can use and apply this to a goal of yours. And let's get to it. And the reason why that deals with hip hop is because we know that hip hop is all about creativity. And this show is also for busy people. This show is for people who want to level up and they don't want to hit burnout, right? You don't want to hit the mental damage that comes with the ups and downs of, becoming a better version of yourself and just going through life. All right. So let's get to this. 7 things that I learned and wish I knew before I leveled up, and I've done it numerous times, even from this show, being something that was in my head and it's out here, right?
So I want to say number one is to expect up and downs. Just like I said, even when I had to go through the embarrassing times, when I had to go through the good times, expect ups and downs to any time you're trying to change a goal, you're trying to level up, or you're trying to become the next version of yourself. Why do we need to expect ups and downs? Okay, so we all have, and I'm going to try to do this in just simple format, right? Simple common sense format. All right. We have the ability to see something in our mind, right? And want to become that, right? Whether we become it in our head or we actually put the work in to become that new person. And what I like to tell people is if I have it in my mind, right? And I want to see it here, like this show, right? I had it in my mind and now I'm looking at it, right? In between, there is a, how can I put it? There is what you call here to here, right? So this is what I see and this is what I want it to be. I want it to be in front of me. But in between this is something that I've never done before. So this is something that I think this is how it's gonna go. So in between that space, and you have to give yourself the old version of you a understanding and patience of what it's going to take for me to become this person. I don't know what that looks like. So I can be creating things in my head to say, oh, I'm supposed to be this by this, or this is supposed to look like this. Meanwhile, you're just making it up in your head. You've never done this task before. You've never actually said, you know what, I really want to be this person and I'm doing it. It's just I gotta change, or you're forcing change from pain, or you're forcing change from being embarrassed. All of that is totally fine. We're supposed to take these emotions and push through them and do something with that energy. However, you have to give yourself the ability to let the old you get used to the new person. Let that new person try those habits, see what habits are comfortable for you, see what habits feel safe to you, see what habits you're ready for, see what habits you need help with from another person. Maybe you need to read a book, ask someone, what do you need to just be patient on and let it come to you? You got to give yourself time, and it takes ups and downs to be like, oh, okay, I experienced that and I know how I started using those skills or doing that new skill and I liked how it made me feel. But I didn't like last week when I didn't do it because I didn't have boundaries when I said I was going to go to bed at 9:30 and I didn't. And then you can be able to record like, okay, what really happened? What do I got to do the next time? So instead of us feeling like, oh my God, I'm just not motivated, I'm not disciplined, you're supposed to go through the ups and downs. They actually make the journey beautiful. It's just that we need patience through that time frame. Okay, because you got to see what's for you, what's not. You got to be able to see what habits are easy for you to transform, which ones you need a little bit of help with, which ones you need to pay to get the information for if you're trying to rush that, which ones you know that you need to learn on your own. Okay, so expect ups and downs. All right, I'm not trying to make this video long. Next is envision properly. Okay, so I know we talk about, or there's videos talking about manifestation. I'm just going to use the word envision because I like to just place it in my head and allow it to come to me based on the things that I know I've been working towards and the things that I just need to ask somebody for. I don't waste time. I used to. I don't waste time anymore trying to figure out something I don't know. If it's a topic that I don't know, I ask somebody. I'm not wasting time being like, oh, I think that's right, and I don't know what it is, so I'm wasting time. So when I say envision properly, right? So for me, right, I really want to get better at making more music, right? I like rap because I just love hip hop. So I like making music, but I don't like making music more than I like helping artists become healthier. So I just want to make that disclaimer. But I still want to get better at music. So I had to start envisioning myself, not just at the finish line of me saying, oh, the music is better, or people saying, oh, you got so much better. I had to actually start envisioning like writing several times and being told it's still not good enough. Like I had to envision all the parts as much as I could, not just the good, comfortable parts of, oh, the end zone. Like for instance, right? Let's say you're like, oh, I need to hurry up. I can't wait to graduate. And you're just thinking about the graduation. But no, you got to think about the times where you're telling your friends, I can't go out tonight because I need to be rested for class. Like you need to think about the times where you're in that study zone and you don't want to do it, or you're in that study zone and you need to take a nap or take it down and you're pressuring yourself to do so. Whatever the factor is as far as envisioning properly, do not just envision the end part. Envision all of the hard things as well. And yes, please envision the good parts too. But a lot of times people just are envisioning the good things. And when you only hit negatives, right? When you only hit negative times, you're just comparing it to what you just made up in your head of what you thought was supposed to be the good thing. But if you actually just envision bad times happening, good times, it's all there for you. And then you can be able to balance it and be able to see because you prepared yourself for that and not just being on the high horse of the end goal. And especially if you don't even know what the end goal is, who's to say that if you start doing the steps, you may not even want to do it anymore. You might be like, oh, you know what? I didn't even think that that's what this is. That's not for me. But sometimes we just go so far that you ignore those red flags. Just like if you was dating a man or dating a woman and you like, dang, she looks so good. Dang, my first man would have. You bypassing all that, but you're not looking at the little knick-knack things that you can miss, okay? Let's get it. The knick-knack things build up. It's not the big whams, okay? The big whams take little tiny goals. And it's the little things of saying, yes, no, what's my boundaries? It's the little things of, like I told you, expecting the ups and downs that sometimes you got to feel more embarrassed to keep going. Sometimes you got to feel more excited to keep going. You need the ups and downs for you to store what you need to store and what you need to learn internally, and also to be able to envision properly and to be able to continue going. All right. Next is get a mentor. Okay, so this is very important. I know a lot of times people say get a mentor, right? Sometimes some people can't afford a mentor, right? And sometimes you can afford one, but you're still in a cheap zone. Or sometimes you're just afraid, right? And you have the money, and you can find the money, but you don't want to because you're afraid. It's cool. Whatever one you're at, you're going to have to get tired enough of yourself to change. But when I say get a mentor and to be, excuse me, I'm reading my notes, is to get a mentor is to know which one you are. Know if you're being cheap. Know if you are just going to spend the money to learn. Know if you could find the money and you're not. And know if you really don't have the money, like you really, really don't have the money and you need to do it yourself. You need to get a mentor and be patient if you're going to pay. The only way you can get somewhere faster is paying for it. Like something has to feel like you're losing out. Like, yo, I have to do this because you need it to scare you. There's only a few things that really force fast change, and fear is one, right? And so you can use that to advantage, to your advantage, right? And so if you pay for it and you pay the right person, right, by taking your time and asking permission if that's the person, and we can go deep down the rabbit hole, but I'm not. Okay. And get a mentor and be patient. If you're still cheap, if you don't feel like you have it or you really don't have it, I get it. And I'm saying cheap, and I want to say the word cheap because I was being cheap and I had to start telling myself I was being cheap so I can get out of it. So I'm saying it so you can feel it, okay, and stop being cheap. Pay for it, okay? But if you're going to be cheap or if you really don't have it, then you have to be super patient. So you either have to get a mentor and be patient because you got to let that person teach you. You still got to learn your own lessons and you're still going to go through the ups and downs. However, the ups and downs are more guided and you probably won't have as many downs. You're still going to have downs, but you may not have as many just because you have another person that could kind of be that net for you to just already kind of tell you like, oh no, you don't have to do that. So it saves you. Now, if you're a person that has to use time, right? You can't use money and you have to use time, right? Because you don't have the money or you're being cheap. Okay. If that's what you're doing, then you have to be very patient because you're going to have to learn from completely not knowing. And so the only thing that you could do with that type of position is to be patient because you're going to need to go through it and be able to see like, okay, I got to keep going. But what did I learn? Okay, I learned that, okay, I might have to stop a little bit because that knocked me down, but I got to keep going. But what we do is we are negative to ourselves, knowing that like you're not spending the money. So you have to be honest and say, look, I'm not spending the money. I don't have anybody to teach me. So I have to give grace to myself because this is something that I don't know. If a child is trying to understand algebra or trying to understand division, would you be like, oh my God, you don't get it. Why? What are you doing? You're going to either find another way to show them, which you can find another way, which means you have to feel frustrated yourself or feel good or make a great decision or not. All of them lead to the next step. And you have to give yourself grace. Okay. So either get a mentor and speed through and still have patience, or either be super patient and go through it if you're going to be cheap or use time to get it. Okay. So you can either use money to go faster or you can use time. They both will get you to the same spacing. Only time it'll slow up is if you don't have patience. I'm telling you. Okay. And if you have a mentor and you're paying, that means you need to do what you got to do with your money, because you don't want to be paying for something and you're not taking it as serious as you need to. But sometimes that may be a lesson too. So who knows? But either way, be patient, keep going, and just don't quit. All right. Next one is get organized. Get organized, get organized, get organized, get organized. Okay. And when I say get organized, I'm talking about building a set schedule, right? And I'm talking about organizing your thoughts. You can organize your thoughts by getting with a counselor or definitely, I would say, like a meditation guru. Shout out to my guy, the docs. I was about to say the docs. My bad. The docs. The docs. Shout out to my guy. Now shout out to Docs, aka Brick City Buddha. Oh my God, that's my counselor. One of my counselors. I have different counselors for different things, but when it comes to helping me understand my mind and understanding just how I developed it myself based on what I went through, based on past generations, based on trauma that I've stored, he is the GOAT. And so if you don't, again, have this, then at least take time to just breathe and to, just monitor your thoughts, meaning and this is something, hopefully, I hope he doesn't be mad that I shared this, but he told me that I needed to use time to just actually watch my thoughts. So I would have to like sit down and just like put 10 or 15 minutes on the clock and just like notice how many thoughts come up and write them down and just see what they are. So just start there. And I'm going to add my own little toot to it. Maybe you can take that information and see what thoughts like can either be scheduled in weekly. So it's like not like you're not letting it kind of randomly pop up on you. You can have set times as opposed to you thinking about it at work, or you taking a shit at work and you and you thinking about the nigga that owe you money. Nah, I'm just that's my I said it with Chris on purpose, y'all. For the joke to be emphasized. So I just really if you was asleep, you're up now. I just had to ain't thinking about the person that owe you money. No, I'm joking. I just wanted to throw that in there. But no, I was saying that because, I used to let things randomly just pop up. And then next thing you know, I'm not focused and I'm not present. So being present is so important. And just watching my thoughts so I can just know what to do as far as how do I want to handle them? When can I handle them? What thoughts can just be thrown out? What thoughts are nonsense? And what thoughts are actually important? And what thoughts actually did I finish that I didn't even realize because I just been going? So organizing your thoughts is important. Getting organized just obviously in your environment. And so scheduling, having a set schedule, y'all, and don't slip away from that schedule. And make sure that schedule involves sleep and eating and at least 20 minutes of exercise, okay? 20, 30 minutes of exercise, some type of cardio, and good quality foods, okay? And as well as having set schedule. Make sure you have time for leveling up, something to learn new. Make sure that you're studying something that is a weakness of yours. Make sure that you're putting at least 15 to 20 minutes of time. And maybe this not may be you may need to work towards this, but make sure you're making time for I lost my train of excuse me. Make sure you're making time for things that like are projects that may not be ready yet, but they're still in you. So like how I had this show, I wasn't ready for the show, but I was waking up and the thought was coming like, I need to start filming. And so I just knew that I needed to start filming. Now that I just started filming, it was for me to get it going. I didn't know what it was. I just needed to do what I was told to do and not think anything outside of it, which I'm going to go to in the next one. The next one is going to be major. And now I know that was just meant for me to just get it going. Just put episodes out now. I'm 12 in, and now I can actually really do it the way that I really want to do it. But if I never did it, I don't think I would have done it at all. Or either I would just be starting now and still doing the same thing. And so, you just want to organize those thoughts, get organized, and make sure that, you are having time to study something new, study something that you have a flaw in, and spend time where something is a future part of you and it's just not there yet. So that doesn't need to be an hour. Unless you have an hour, it could be 15 or 20 or 30 hardcore minutes of your day in those areas, which is 90 minutes. And trust me, if you put your all into the areas, you'll be surprised about how much your awareness wakes up where you'll be able to see like, oh, okay, look, that idea. And oh man, and next thing you know, that 30 minutes is now an hour and a half. Next thing you know, that hour and a half is now bringing you income in. Next thing you know, everybody's like, oh, like I know your product, or they're like, oh, I love your product. The next thing you know is now they're coming up to you. And the next thing you know, you like, yo, I did it. All right. Not everything needs to be 2 hours, 3 hours. If you know what you have, where you can still have rest, time for yourself, time with the family, and those three things and work, right? I don't think it's really anything else. Like, and everything else can be, it's okay to say no to if that's not what's on your, have your rules for that. My rules are, if you're not really, really in my phone, like I don't know you like that, like I'm not going. And that doesn't mean forever. It could be for a year. It could be for 3 months. It could be for 2 weeks. But, you got to know that. And organizing your thoughts lets you know that, okay? And organizing your environment. I need to get better in that. That's one of my weaknesses. But let me not say it's one of my weaknesses. That is something that I am continue to work on. All right, let's get it. Next one is, don't want to say time. Okay, let's do it. Time, right? What are you going to do to free your time up for this? So this one is a quick one. A lot of times we want more because of our past mistakes and our inability to process trauma properly. And so sometimes we're battling embarrassment and some of our thoughts when we're not monitoring them and just kind of letting them go, or just kind of ignoring them, or kind of working our way through it, or relationshiping our way through it, or sexing our way through it. We miss a lot of things. And so we can use this energy to say, oh, I'm going to hurry up and do this. Or, you know what, when I get a lot of money, and that's cool and all, you can use that energy, but you still have to deal with those things. And so when I say time, right, what are you going to do with your free time? Like, what are you going to do to free up your time? You have to look at your schedule, which is why I wanted to say organize your thoughts and get organized with your time and have a set schedule. Because if you work 2 jobs, right, you have to see what time you have to give to this area or this goal. Even if it's 30 minutes, make sure that it's a set time that you can do that's going to be like your all, because the energy on that, like sometimes we when we have a fear, or sometimes when we based on what our parents or what conditions they brought us in, some of us are fighting battles that just weren't fought properly from those before us. And so we have things like fear of lack, right, impatience, right? And when you're dealing with these type of things, you may have set your time up to be what you call secure, right? Because the opposite of fear would be trying to create some type of security for yourself of whatever that fear is. And so we load ourselves up based on not wanting to be embarrassed, based on not looking like a villain to other people, not looking like we got it going on. And we, next thing you know, our whole time is set up on the image of improving or improvement from others, when people don't even think about us like that. And so you have to be honest. And if you can't be honest about like, yo, look, I'm really working these jobs because I don't believe in myself, or I'm really working these jobs because like, I know I'm not really feeling that good and I'm not taking care of my health, or whatever the reasons why, don't lie to yourself. Do not lie to yourself and act, because you have to give yourself, the longer you've ignored yourself of saying, I don't want to do this, or I need to be able to do this idea, or you know what, like I need to go study this, however long you are ignoring them, you got to give yourself that time. And so sometimes when you go through another embarrassing phase, it's like, yo, I got to get on it. And you got to realize when you're doing that. Sometimes you won't if you're not minding your thoughts. So just looking at your time and saying, look, I got to do this. I got to pick the kids up, this, that, and the third. I'm going to give myself an hour before I go to bed, or 30 minutes to work on the thing that I need to be doing to get me to the next level. Sometimes it's not always a money goal. Sometimes it is a characteristic goal. We all know that one. We know a couple of them, but there are some that are just like, I need to fix this about myself now. When you feel like that, it needs to be addressed, okay? And so you want to create time for that. And some of y'all are trying to fill that void without giving stuff up. You know dang well you're not supposed to be with that person. You know dang well you're not supposed to be spending that long at that job, or without figuring out what you're supposed to do. You know dang well you're supposed to be working out, eating right. You know dang well that you could be a better mom or a better dad, right? Whatever the case may be, we all know it. It's nothing wrong with any of those things. But when we don't have spacing for them, right, and we don't mind our thoughts to know which ones are not real and which ones we actually need to work on
part of our purpose and part of the things we should be doing with our time. Maybe you can't do all of them. So I don't want us to be like randomly picking things or randomly loading up our schedule because of fear of lack or growing up in poverty. Now, next thing you know, you got 2 jobs and you're trying to build a business. Maybe you either need to share, maybe you need to do a little bit at a time if you're not going to give up more. Because some of us can either give up more, and I'll go on in more detail about that, but make time for it, okay? And see what that is. It's not always an hour. It's not always 8. Sometimes it's just 30 minutes a day. Sometimes it's just 90 minutes a day. 90 minutes is a great amount of time. Shout out to Craig Ballantyne. And I read in his book about 90 minutes, and I did a coaching program with him a couple of months, and I learned about just making out time, 90 minutes for like your dream of whatever that is and the better characteristics, a goal, whatever it is for you that you feel that you need to conquer, 90 minutes. Maybe you could take 2 or 3 things and work 30-minute individual sessions in those 90 minutes. And the rest of the day, give to other people. But make sure that you have time to give to making yourself a better person. All right, we got 2 more. Number 6, don't set a time for the goal. Just let it occur, okay? You don't know if you don't have a mentor, right, and you're not paying for help, then or have somebody around you that's already did it that can just kind of give you answers about the ahead part of you that you don't know, or part of the goal that you don't know or don't understand. If you have that person, then they obviously can let you know what times they'll give you deadlines, and they'll be able to, look at what they've done, look at a whole bunch of other people and be able to compare. So that's a little different. That's why I always say, if you want to get there faster, pay for it. And if you aren't, you're just guessing. So a lot of times we think that, because I got an A, and shout out to Russell Simmons. It was a book that I had read of his, and he was talking about a lot of the things that we get from, and this is just my version of it because I'm not reading it right now. But he was basically saying something about, as people, we are conditioned from school to think that, like, okay, because I studied and got an A, like that every time, and this is what I got from it, but it was like every time that I set a goal, if I quote unquote fail or don't get what I perceive is the winning or is what the answer is supposed to be, then it's an automatic F. And to me, that is something that is very confusing, because if this is a new subject to you, the only thing you should be doing is just trying to learn it. That's it. Like, you let the teacher tell you, you let the mistakes tell you what to do next. And so if you don't have a mentor to tell you what to do next, then setting a time and saying, I'm going to give this 2 years. No, how about you count just the times of how much effort that you've been doing from now. Grade that. If you haven't been giving any type of belief to yourself or any time to your goal, and you're doing 30-minute segments of deep work to push you further, count that. Count the effort. Count the consistency. Count the differences within where I was and where I'm at now, thinking wise, physically, emotionally, right? Do I feel more confident in this area? I'm even when it comes down to the negatives, dang, I'm actually being more on myself now. Like, before I was kind of doing it a little bit, now I'm doing it more, and now like I feel even more uncomfortable when I'm not doing it. Let me get back to it. It doesn't always got to be a thought. That's why minding your thoughts, we can read a thought and we can change it at any moment as well. So I can say, dang, I'm doing bad, just like how I said, dang, organizing is a weakness of mine. Then I said, oh no, I minded my thought and said, no, you know what? That's not right. It's actually not a weakness. I just got a lot going on with other things that I'm changing, and I'm working on it. Okay. And now I feel like that gotta be something that got to go in that section, because it's not, and it's supposed to be there. All right. Last one is clean your insides, okay? Any type of goal you have, right? If you're not eating whole foods, and you're not moving your body, stretching your body daily, or at least every other day, getting stronger in some type of way, whether it's Pilates, whether it's body weight, whether you're using weights, getting stronger, making sure you're preserving those muscles and using them, taking care of your heart rate. So jumping rope, dancing, swimming, walking, jogging, whatever the case may be, getting some cardio in. Obviously, you want to definitely check with your doctor first, and make sure that you have time for bed, okay? Because we want to push for goals naturally. We want to be able to have natural energy. We don't want to be pushing for goals and we're burnt out, because guess what's going to happen? You're going to get a sign of not wanting to do it, because your brain is like, this is not stress. This is not stress. This is more stress. We need ease because you're already choosing to do this goal because of unprocessed information, or you're choosing to do this goal because you fear a lack, or maybe it's something that you just want to do and it's new. So it's already new here. We don't want to be going through these new things and we're still eating, sugary foods, and we're still eating overly processed foods, and we're not sleeping, and we're not, like, how are you going to ask for more of your vehicle and you're not giving it the right gas? Okay, so the gas for human beings is sleep first, nutrition. This is my order. Sleep first, work on that sleep, y'all. If you can't sleep thoroughly, then you definitely want to look into a lack of nutrients and under eating as well. And you want to look at sleep. You want to look at your nutrition, eating real foods, right? Making 80 to 90% of your meals at home from scratch, all right? Or having somebody else do it, all right? Eating real food, y'all. I know it seems like it's annoying and it's like, I don't have time for that, but you're a human being. We don't have time to go back and forth because of food. Like, why would we want to continue to push for goals and go up and down if from food, when we can actually just put time into eating tasty foods that are nutritious for our body, and now you actually have the energy to push through when it's a bad week, or the energy to push through when it didn't go well, as opposed to you being drained, tired. Now you don't have the energy from not pushing well, you don't have the energy from not eating. Next thing you know, you're trying to force, and next thing you know, you gave up. But it's not because you're giving up, it's because you're not taking care of yourself, putting gas in the car, putting the oil changes, saying, all right, let's go for this car ride. We're just going for joy rides in your 97 Honda. Like, and you trying to go from Jersey to Cali 8 times a week. No. What's going to happen? You're going to stop. Okay? So that's my 7 things, y'all. Make sure that if any ladies need help, I train men too. All right? So if any ladies need help, make sure you reach out to my application in the link below and in the description below. And that's going to offer you training. That's going to offer the ladies anytime, any woman that need help with building curves, looking like the lady you want to look in your mind, but you're having a hard time doing that, right? And you need help with discipline, consistency, accountability. Fellas, for y'all who want to just get stronger mentally, physically as well, you can get with me. Just fill out the application in the description, and I would love to help y'all. Make sure y'all share this video for those, if you feel like you learned something. Drop the gems at the bottom. Drop the takeaways. I want to know what you learned. Share, and please watch another video. And this is your episode of the Health and Hip Hop Podcast Show with your girl, Health is Key. Shout out to my best friend, Rel, composer Rel. Let's get it, y'all. Peace.